But we didn't know it was going to last another year. And by that time, Ryan was in the news all the time. The media covered Ryan just almost everything he did. One of the best things about our story is everybody hates the media, so to speak. But the media was our best friend. They were never afraid to be around us. And yes, they were covering the story. But they were always very, very good to Ryan. Which you always kind of, as a mother, you kind of wait, well, when are the tabloids going to start? I mean, you just kind of, how much do you trust? But we were very fortunate. And after Ryan passed away, even, I asked a lot of the media, about, you guys treated Ryan so well. They said, we see a person on camera and off camera. Ryan was always the same. A lot of times when somebody gets in front of a camera, they try to be somebody different. They said, we loved covering Ryan because you got exactly who Ryan was. But as a mom, you're still waiting for that miracle. You're still waiting for that cure. From the time he was diagnosed with AIDS, every day I thank the Lord for another day. And you think you're only going to have 3 to 6 months, but every day and every night, Ryan and I would say, thank you, Lord, for another day. And we had 5.5 years. That thank you, Lord. One of the things we did to try to get to stay as a normal family, a lot of people think the fight to go to school, which made Ryan famous, was our number one topic that our family was worried about. Well, it wasn't. My number one priority was trying to keep my son alive, trying to get him to eat, just so in case he got another illness, that he could lose some weight, because he was so skinny to begin with. My second was trying to keep my daughter, Andrea. She was a national champion roller skater who had went to nationals in 4 events and was quite a star within herself, and then Ryan was diagnosed with AIDS. So everything was kind of put on hold, so I was trying to go to meets with her, trying to keep her in skating, even though we had help in that area with her pros and so forth. There was a lot of some kind of help, but not help within our own community. I can remember going to the convenience store and giving the lady my money, and she drops the change in my hand, and I was going like this. I mean, she took my money. If you could get AIDS, she already had it by getting AIDS. But for some reason, she wanted to show her resentment to me. They held fundraisers, the school board and the teachers voted unanimously to keep Ryan out of the classroom. And then it went to the school, to get concerned citizens group. They filed an injunction and got Ryan for another 6 months or so out of school. Finally, Ryan won the right to go back to school, but it was through a lot of hatred. It was bad. Ryan was finally able to go back to school. There was only 2 weeks left of school, just a few days, and then they were going to be out for the summer. So Ryan went to school, and I get a call at work. I tried to stay out of it because I became the target. They didn't want to say too much about Ryan because he was a child. So they would try to pick on the mother by saying all kinds of things about me. And one lady called the radio station, and she said, I know how that boy got AIDS. She is such a trashy housekeeper. And I can remember being so upset about that because I was way beyond you can't get AIDS that way. But I was so upset that people would think that I was a trashy housekeeper. And I thought, oh my gosh, you need to get your priorities straight. So that was the job at General Motors. I had, trying to keep my job at General Motors, and way down the list was number 4 or 5 was the fight to go to school. But there were several things that kept me going. One was trying to keep Andrea skating, and we would go to practice, and one day we were riding in the van, which we did a lot because I'm Andrea, and Ryan reached down and he grabbed my hand and he started swinging. I said, okay, what do you want? He goes, I don't want anything. I said, Ryan, when you're this nice and sweet, you want something. He said, can't a son hold his mother's hand? I said, Ryan, you really don't want anything? He said, Mom, I just want to say thank you for always being there for me. I tell you, as a mom, you don't think anything else about it. But to have those words We always think everybody's going to be here tomorrow. And we always think it's going to be somebody older. But one day you're going to wake up and it's going to be somebody younger. And it's going to be somebody that we wish you would have said, I love you, or thank you to. When I speak to young people, I say, you know, guys, if you think you're too cool, leave a note on your parents' pillow. You'll never be sorry, because I will never, ever forget my son swinging my arm and saying, thank you, Mom. Thank you for always being there for me. Ryan was able to go back to school, and just a few days before school was over, he calls me at work and he said, Mom, I'm not sure what to do. And I knew Ryan could handle almost anything. But he said, Mom, I said, what's the matter? He said, well, when I got to school, the outside of my locker was marked fag and other things. And I said, what do you mean other things? He said, it says get butt fucked, Mom. He said, when I opened my locker, the inside of my books and everything, my folders were all marked that. And he said, Mom, somebody's been in my locker. He goes, Mom, I'm not sure what to do. I said, give me the principal. He said, Mom, the principal's not here. I said, well, give me the vice principal, whoever's next. He said, Mom, they're at a meeting at another school. I said, Ryan, there has to be somebody at that school. He said, Mom, there's a secretary here. I said, Ryan, give me the secretary. She gets on the phone, and I was about ready to blow my top. I tried to remain cool. I tried not to say anything I was ever going to be sorry for through all this, but I had just had enough. This boy was allowed to go back to school, and he was still getting it. I said, you know what? You have 5 minutes to get him a new locker. I said, that school has called so many press conferences, and I have never called one in my life, but I'm about to call my very first one. I said, you have 5 minutes to get him a new locker. Ryan calls me back about 10 minutes later. He said, Mom, everything is cool. He said, really, Mom? He said, I got a new locker and I got new folders. He said, really, Mom, we're going to be able to make it. I tell you, I just felt like I was Superwoman for the first time. I felt like the media, I'll give my call, my son would already be there. But I didn't have to do that. We finally, because of Ryan winning the right to go back to school, there was 3 movie companies that wanted to do a movie about our story. They wanted to do the fight for Ryan to go back to school. And we didn't know who to go with, but Linda Otto from the Landsberg Company, she asked if she could come to the house to talk to our family. She came to the house, and Ryan, who had been interviewed by so much media, became an interviewer himself. So he told Linda, he goes, okay, what have you done? She said, well, we did Bill, about a mental retarded man played by Mickey Rooney. Ryan goes, oh, I like that movie. She said, well, we did Adam Walsh, about a little boy who was kidnapped from Sears. And Ryan goes, oh, I like that movie too. He said, I'll tell you what, Linda, you can do our movie provided I can be on location the whole time you do it and make sure you do it right. She goes, Ryan, you got yourself a deal. Because there was 2 other people that wanted to do the movie too. So we ended up going with the Landsberg Company. We got a check for $25,000 up front. Most money I'd ever seen in my life. I looked at the check for 2 weeks. I thought, whatever we do, we're going to try to make our life better. We found a home in Cicero, Indiana, which was only about 30 miles away. I went and looked at homes with a friend of mine who did not live in Kokomo area. So we ended up looking at it, and I decided to try to get this house. It was $92,000, and you know, with my $25,000 down, I thought I might be able to get this house. I had a good job at General Motors and so forth. But when I applied for a loan, because I had some shady credit reports and stuff, they told me that I needed another $15,000, another $10,000. And I thought, there's no way I could get any more money. A friend of mine said, call Elton. He told you that if you ever needed anything to call him. I said, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I said, I can't call Elton. So I ended up calling Elton. And I asked him for a loan. I said, would because only 1 out of 5 movies actually get made, even though they buy the rights to it. So it's not a sure thing. So we didn't know whether the movie would actually get made. And I told him that, you know, if they didn't do our movie, I would sell the house and pay him back. Well, we wrote up a contract and all that stuff, you know. Well, we did the movie. I sent Elton, well, he sent me $15,000. And I said, Elton, why did you send me 15? He said, well, you have to have your electricity and stuff turned on, don't you? I thought it never cost $5,000 to have electricity turned on. But anyway, we did the movie. I sent him a check for $15,000. And he says, what in the world is this money for? He goes, I told you I didn't want it back. I said, you know, Elton, it has made such a difference in our lives. I said, you know, really, every cent was worth it. Ryan, he got to go back to school. He had friends. Little did we realize that the girl that lived 3 doors down was president of the student body. And when the rumors were flying that we were moving in the neighborhood, she took it upon herself and the student council to get everybody educated and to make Ryan welcome. She even said, she made a statement, she said, Ryan White, you'll ride to school with me. She said, I'll pick you up every day and you'll go with me. I tell you, he went to proms, he went to dances, he even had a job at Maui Skateboard Shop. And I can remember him turning 16 and coming home and telling me he had a job, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who's going to hire you knowing you have AIDS? I mean, you know, I was like, I got to meet this person. I said, how much are you getting paid? He said, $3.50 an hour. I said, Brian, I'm not sure that's going to pay for your gas to go to Indianapolis and back. He said, Mom, you don't get it. I got a job just like everybody else does. When people try to take everything away from you, you'd be surprised how little things will be to make you happy. And I saw that with Ryan White. During the last days of Ryan White, Michael wants to talk to Ryan on the phone. We got a telephone line, ran to Ryan's room. Elton John was in the room. Michael called. Elton John was talking to Michael Jackson on the phone. He told Michael, he said, Michael, I'll put the phone up to Ryan's ear and you can say what you want to, okay? He said, 5 minutes or so. He said, you know, Elton put the phone up to Ryan's ear and I looked over at Elton and he had these tears streaming down his eyes, his face. I put my arm around him and I said, what's the matter? He said, you know, with all the money that's in this room, we can't bring this boy back to life. It was a real realization to Elton. Elton had been on cocaine for 17 years off and on, alcoholic, bulimic. He had done everything he could to destroy his life. He had all the money, he could buy anything, but he did not have his health. After Ryan passed away, Elton entered rehab. He contributes his life being saved because of Ryan White. Elton has agreed to do an event next April on behalf of Ryan because of the 20-year anniversary of his passing. I tell you, he's been a great friend to me. He's almost been like what I'd say is my guardian angel. A few days after Ryan's funeral, which Elton paid for Ryan's whole funeral, and a lot of celebrities were there, but a few days after the funeral, Michael called me and asked me how I was doing. I said, Michael, I'm doing okay. I said, Michael, what made you and Ryan so close? He said, you know, most people can't get over all of who I am, so nobody ever acts normal around me. He said, you know, Ryan knew how I wanted to be treated, because that's how he wanted to be treated. And he said, trust. He said, Jeannie, I can't trust anyone. Everybody always wants something from me. He said, you know, Jeannie, I promised Ryan he could be in my next video. He said that now he's gone. He said, I can't put him in my video. But he said, would it be okay if I did a video for him? I said, Michael, that would be really neat. Michael did a video for Ryan, and it's called Gone Too Soon. And I'd like to share it with you now, because as we know, Michael Jackson has now gone too soon too. Thank you.